When you feel good, good things happen.
Hi, I'm Melinda Van Fleet, and welcome to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I'm an author, speaker, and success coach who helps women believe in themselves, build confidence, and take action. In 2009, my husband Ryan and I were laid off at the same time, and we moved to the Florida Keys without jobs, not knowing anyone, hardly any money, and we never even been here. But we made it. And now, not every day is sunshine and rainbows, but we're living our best lives. All along in our journey, I've always said that someday when we get our shit together, we will help others. So each week, my intent is to be relatable and bring you tactical tips, tools, share my learnings and stories that can help inspire or transform you wherever you are in your career or general life and make an impact. I strongly believe that if I can do it, you can do it too. So what's stopping you? Real quick, before we begin, I am super excited about the release of my first book, Confidence Mastery for Couples, a roadmap to a more intimate relationship. And this book releases March 9th. Stay tuned for more about it and other confidence-related books that I will be releasing every 3 months. And I'm going to put a link to my website in the show notes. Now on to the podcast. Thanks in advance for listening. Welcome everyone to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I am so grateful that you have decided to join us today. I have a very special guest. She is a #1 international bestselling author, speaker, happiness coach, and she's just an expert at choosing happiness, which in the new year, I think we all need a reset. And having her on, I am just so delighted. So welcome, Terri Lynn.
Thank you so much, Melinda. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Do you want to fill us in a little bit on your background? And I know I've read your book and know the story of how you thought of your book, but I would love for you to share it with the audience because it's a very cool story.
Okay. Well, I've been in the automotive business for over 30 years, and most of my time has been spent as a sales manager in Highline stores. And at one point, I worked in a small store where everybody had nicknames. And at first, my nickname was Woohoo, because that's what I chanted after each sale we made. But this one day, something happened, and I'll tell you, I can't even remember what happened, but something happened that didn't look so good. And one of my coworkers, Keith, turned to me and said, "Okay, fortune cookie, let's see you put a positive spin on this one." And when he coined me with the nickname fortune cookie, it just ignited a passion in me. And immediately I wanted to write, I wanted to send out positive thoughts, and I did. I started an email chain where I connected with all my past salespeople, friends, family, and I titled these positive thoughts, a daily thought, fortune cookie. And eventually that became my daily fortune cookie, my daily positive saying on my Think Happy, Be Happy Facebook page. And eventually I wrote a few books, and that turned into my 10 minutes to a happier you, start your day in a positive way, which became a bestseller, which I'm very excited about.
Wow. Yes, because you just launched it in October. So
Correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Cool. That is very cool. And, you know, I grew up loving fortune cookies. So I think that's actually when I saw the connection on Facebook through a friend, and I was like, oh my God, what a great title for a book, especially when you resonate with the fortune cookies, right?
Yeah, the funny thing is when I was writing the book, the working title was called Today's Fortune Cookie, and somebody said to me, "It sounds like a recipe book." I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that. So then I switched it to 10 minutes to a happier you, which is what the exercise is all about.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. I was talking to someone earlier, and it's funny how your mind goes, and some people like can get it and resonate right away, but then you have to think broader. And yeah, your friend was probably giving you some good advice.
Yeah.
I love it. So why don't you just kind of walk us through, because I think it would be great. So this is actually, now that I'm sitting here, kind of similar to like having almost a podcast on meditation in a way. Like, give us the scoop of the steps that you lay out in the book, and maybe some overall guidance.
Okay. So as a sales manager for more than 20 years, I coach people, and in sales, in life in general, but especially in sales, if you really want to succeed, you need to stay positive. Nobody wants to come in and buy a car from a Debbie Downer, and
Mm.
people can pick up on energy. We are all connected that way, and I'm big on energy, and I feel we're all responsible for the energy we bring to life. So as a sales manager, I would coach people, and over I would hear, I would always suggest people meditate, because when I started meditating, immediately I felt the singularity of thought, where all the static just eventually disappeared, and your mind becomes your own. And I heard from so many people, well, I don't have time to meditate, or I can never quiet my mind. And I just got so tired of hearing that, because anything worth doing is worth doing poorly in the beginning. If we all sat down and could just meditate instantly, you wouldn't need to meditate if we were at that level. But it takes work and it takes time. Like, of course, you can't sit down and just quiet your mind immediately. It takes work. But it is so worth it. And because of that, I developed this exercise that keeps your mind busy. You do motions and smiling and breathing all at the same time for several minutes, and then you sit down and do a breathing exercise to help quiet your mind, and it just helps to get you into that state a little faster, and you put some positive thoughts in, because we can generate any feeling we desire if we concentrate enough and become aware of what we're thinking. And that's where it all starts, Melinda.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was listening to something last week. For my audience, they all know that I love meditation, and I started meditating in 2018. But what I was listening to was someone talking about that people might be afraid of meditation, right? Because it might seem overwhelming or daunting. So they use certain excuses. So the excuse of, I don't have time, or I can't do it, or my brain's too busy. But underlying, they might just not understand it, or it might just
Right.
be scary to them.
Well, it does bring up different things. When you learn to meditate and get into deeper and deeper levels, it does bring up past pain. It does bring up past memories. But the thing is, it helps you release them.
Mm.
I lived with a limiting belief for years, and I held down pain and things, and just I still focused on being happy, and I was happy on the upper level, but deep within, I held this sadness and pain, because in my mind, this pain is never going to go away, because that time in my life is never coming back,
Mhm.
and that was a limiting belief. And I once I released that, I was able to write and talk about the things. Before that, I wanted to write. I would sit down. I could never get to the core emotions.
Mhm.
But once that release came, it just changed everything. So I urge people to face their fears. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Um, but it does bring up different emotions from the past, but that's how you heal.
Right, right. Is that what your first book is about? You might.
Exactly, yes. My first book is titled Journey to My Soul, Following Divine Navigation. And I lived through a very tough time, a 10-year period of emotional pain. And there was nothing I could do about it. And I just had to decide to be happy and live with the hell and get past it. I knew there was a time period, and I knew there'd be an end to it. Um, but I consider it a hell that I lived through. And I just locked those feelings down. I focused on something positive, and I got through each day. And
Mhm.
I'm very grateful. To me, that's one of my biggest successes, is that I've been able to be happy no matter what's going on in my life.
Mhm.
But because of that, when you bury emotions and things like that, it comes out in other ways. But once that 10-year period was over, that's when I started my meditation. In 2007, I started to meditate, because I was so grateful to God, the universe, whatever you want to call that energy out there, for carrying me through that terrible time. And I started meditating, and I dedicated an hour a day. which is a lot. But I'll tell you what, it just released everything. And following divine navigation, we all have this built-in navigation system. If you tune into yourself, you can certainly use it. But of course, you need to have a goal set. And my goal at that time was to become as close to the creative power of the universe as humanly possible. And I'm still on that journey.
Wow, that's amazing and beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
I've increased my meditation over the past, maybe 6 months. And I am really finding it beneficial. And I'm blessed that I have the time. So, I definitely want to call that out to somebody, like, different spiritual teachers tell you, even 5 minutes a day is good. So yes, we want to encourage that. But I don't want to discourage somebody. But, if you can do more, it's really amazing how the whole construct can change. And you're right. You're right. The different things that can come out. And if you have an intention or a prayer along with that, I had a pretty big aha moment myself yesterday that I'll write about someday, that I think is part of that whole journey. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. Do you still meditate 10 minutes a day, or are you able to do more still now?
I generally do a half hour. I don't do the hour. I do the hour every once in a while, but I definitely do a half hour at least 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And on days I don't do a half hour, I do a minimum 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never missed a day since 2018. I think it's the only, besides that and brushing my teeth and maybe telling my husband I love him. Those are like the only, and water, I'm like, what are the basic necessities of my day? Finding it at least, 5 to 10 minutes somewhere. And I encourage people too, like, sit in your car, get to work early and sit in your car, put down the little sunshade and put your sunglasses on. No one's paying attention.
Right. Just get connected. We all have this power within us. And if you're not connected to it, you can't use the power. Mm-hmm. It's like a refrigerator that's not plugged in. It's not going to get cold. Well, we are connected to this universal power. And if you don't take the time to plug in, if you are not feeding all three parts, the mind, the body, and the spirit, it's difficult to sustain happiness, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. So in your book, because I never counted, and I don't know if I saw a count, how many Today's Fortune cookies do you have in your book?
You know what? I honestly don't even know how many there are. There's probably about 190.
Wow. Yeah. I
maybe a little less, maybe 188, something like that. But there were about 200 when it started. And then I had to shorten the book and I pulled a few out.
Oh, wow. Wow. And I think that's really cool that you collected them over the years. And how many years ago did you start?
I started in 2009.
Wow.
I started sending out the email. My Facebook page was started in 2012.
Okay.
Where I do that, and I do it on Twitter also.
I am not on Twitter. I am, but I'm not. If that makes sense, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just thinking, my brain is going, okay, so you started in 2007 with this journey in meditation, and then obviously the divine universe, however you want to put it, brought you this amazing idea, and you started building upon that in 2009. Yeah.
I actually had the experience back in 2011 of seeing my own soul. And that's what my original book is, Journey to My Soul. It was like through this meditation, through different events in my life, I had that vision, and that vision changed the way I see and interpret everything.
Wow. Wow. Can you explain that a little bit for somebody that might be new to trying to understand the concept? I know I've had Deborah Lupien on several times, and we talk about soul introductions. And so I'm hopeful that if someone...
Well, we are all beautiful souls. And unfortunately, we all get caught up in the material, and the material is the smallest part of us. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's who we are, and it's how we, walk through this life, but this life is just a small part of who we are. Our souls have a journey way well beyond. And if we learn how to tap into that, our soul will guide us. And the Heart Math Institute talks a lot about how the soul connects to the heart. And when you can live in heart coherence, you're living with your soul intuitive. And it's just beautiful. And just the soul, I always say, when you let the spirit guide you, there are no accidents. But unfortunately, we all get caught up in this material world because that's all we can see.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's more to the world than what is seen. The biggest part of us is this power within us.
Wow. No, that's beautiful. And I think it transcends. I had written an article earlier this year on Medium about, if we all just realized we are souls just in this body at this point in time, so many things just wouldn't exist, right?
Yes.
Like racism wouldn't exist and judgment wouldn't exist, because
Yeah.
especially if it's about physical things, because it doesn't matter. You're just here in this body at this moment. Who knows what you were before,
Exactly.
So,
Yes. And we all get worried about, all the material things,
mm-hmm.
bills and this and that. If you just learn to live from the power within, and just, of course, you have to take action, and you have to do what you're called to do. But there's no need to worry. You will be taken care of.
Yeah. And if anything, I mean, the majority of people, well, that might be a big statement, and I hate to speak out of turn, but Ryan and I'll just circle it this way. Ryan and I are writing his newsletter for his community, which is Good Karma Sport Fishing. It comes out on the 1st. And, we've had a rocky year in regard to COVID. Obviously, the Keys were shut down. We've had a bad weather year for the charter business. My business, in regards to the sales business, was definitely upside down. And I had a major change in September, but we're still here. I'm still all right. Like, we're good. Like, it's just, you think of all those things, and luckily we know better and we don't dwell on them. We have done that work because we were laid off at the same time in 2009, but still, regardless, it's amazing when you think about it, just what you're saying, like all the material stuff, at the end of the day, you'll be all right. Like, well,
Yes.
I'll get through this. So,
well, the funny thing is, when I wrote my first book, I was out of work. Back in 2010, the company I worked for, I was a general sales manager in a BMW center, and the company I worked for got sold out, and the new company brought in their own managers. So I was out of work because at that time, so many places had closed down. There were so many good qualified people in the car industry looking for jobs because of 2008, 2009. And I was out of work for 22 months.
wow.
Searching for work the whole time, but there it gave me the time. That's when I went through this cathartic release of emotions through meditation, and that's when I started really able to write my book. And the funny thing is, I was out of work for 22 months, looking for work the whole time. The minute I sent it to the publisher for publishing, 2 hours later, I received a call and a job offer.
Oh my God, I love that story. Wow.
Yes.
You were meant, I have the chills.
Yeah, it was just meant to be.
You're meant to write that book, girl. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Not only that, but the cover of that book is a vision of an eye, is a vision I had a dream of. The dream was so profound. I knew it meant something. I didn't know what. This was way before I even wrote the book. And I even talk about this dream in the book without knowing what the cover was going to be. And here that dream vision became the cover of the book.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a very cool story. And I hope that gives inspiration out there to people that are struggling. A lot of people have been stuck in this stuckness, I call it.
Yes, it is. I mean,
waiting for the new year, waiting for something to shift, waiting for the planets and the moon and the this and the that, right? And you experienced that shift. Once your book was handed off, you got the job, and it all
fell into place, and I just know it was all meant to be.
Yeah. Wow. That is so cool. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Do you want to share anything else from 10 Minutes to Happier You?
Well, you know what? 10 minutes to a happier you is just it's simple. There's simple thoughts that you can put in your head. And the 10 minutes is just to help you become aware. It's just for people that don't have the time or don't understand the benefits. And I think everybody could benefit from this. 10 minutes. If you can't find 10 minutes, there's something wrong in your life.
Mhm.
And again, I made it so it's simple for anybody to use. And again, if you do it repetitively, I promise you, you will feel a difference.
Yes.
It might not happen the first day, the first week, but if you really put the energy and time into it, it's simple things to do. It's just a matter of doing them. And I just urge people to, if I could go back and talk to my younger self, the first thing I would say would be meditate, because it just totally changed the trajectory of my life.
Hmm. Hmm. I agree. I agree. It changed mine as well. And it's something I harp on my husband. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm just saying it. Harp on my husband for once in a while. I'm like, did you meditate today? So yeah, because I strongly believe in it. That's why. And I can pick on him. So, but he gets it as well. So I think it's very important. I love that. And I know you have a closing thought. So I would love it if you shared it with the audience.
Yeah. So thoughts are energy. So think responsibly.
Yes. And you had given me this with your bio, and I was like, yes, so true.
Yeah, I mean, I say that to salespeople all the time. We are all responsible for the energy we bring
Yeah.
to our life, because what we bring to our life filters out into the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I always ask people, if peace on earth depended on your internal world, would we have peace?
Wow. That's a really great reflective thought as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. And as a sales rep myself, and for the past, 11 years, I know I still have some things I keep to sell because I like it. It's fun. But I do always try to bring a positive energy with me. So I definitely think what you are doing for salespeople and how you coach and train is phenomenal, because sometimes I know as a sales rep, people can get in their heads, oh, business is tough. I can't do it. No one wants to buy anything. And it's like, no,
Right.
no, let's all change that around. So,
Yeah. The weather's bad. The stock market's down. Nobody's coming in. It's like, really?
yep,
Don't depend on that. That doesn't matter.
yep, yep. And they have the energy. And here we are, responsibility. I'm using your quote to turn that around. So thank you so much for sharing. How can everyone connect with you or reach out to you?
They can connect with me on my Facebook page, Think Happy, Be Happy. I have a website, www.thinkhappybehappy.com. Also on the Wellness Universe under Terri Lynn Murphy.
That's awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much and Happy New Year. I really appreciate this conversation. Thank you.
Melinda, thanks so much for having me. I so appreciate it, and Happy New Year to you.